So one of the signs that you're not compatible is that you don't really enjoy the relationship. One of the signs that you're not compatible is that you don't really enjoy the relationship. So, you're not supposed to be unequally yoked in a relationship. The Bible says, don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. So you're not supposed to be unequally yoked. But even if they are a Christian, you are equally yoked. That doesn't mean that you're compatible. Even if they are Christian and you're equally yoked, doesn't mean that you are compatible with them. Okay, you still may not be compatible with them, even if you're a Christian. Okay, even if they are Christian, I'm sorry, because I was with, like the two men that I was with, and so when I was with them, I noticed that we were not compatible. You see what I'm saying? So you can't really enjoy the relationship because you're doing most of the things alone. Let's say you're excited about something, you're excited about doing things. If the person is not into that, you're not really going to enjoy the relationship. A lot of people can do things and go places and have a fake smile, but they're not genuine, because you're not compatible. They don't really love what you love, hate what you hate, and really about what you about or what you stand for. Like you might be about mission work, or you be maybe a giver and maybe a taker, so you're not compatible, stuff like that. Or they may not like what you like, or you may like doing things and they'll stay home and every time you want them to do something with you, they won't do it. But even if they do, they have to forward a smile and everything is fake. You see what I'm saying? But 9 times out of 10, when people don't like something, they're not really consistent in it, or they have to fake it or something like that, and that means you're not compatible, right? I mean, that just used to be. I can tell you about my partners, two partners I used to have. I just noticed that we were incompatible, and that's why we're not together. You see what I'm saying? Because we were not compatible, and God didn't want us together too. God put you with who He wants you with. It's not about you trying to put you with, who you want you with. It's who God wants you with. That's how it goes in life. Okay, the right person for you is the person that God put you with, and that's what's wrong with a lot of people. Okay, you need to be going toward the one God put you with. So, you need to be the one God to the one God put you with, but it's about compatibility too. People try to leave that off. I mean, they sit in these relationships and don't realize, hey, am I really compatible with this person? It does matter. You need to have the same life goals. You need to have the same life goals and priorities. You need to have the same life goals and priorities. And a lot of people don't have the same similar life goals and priorities, similar life goals and priorities. You need to love the type of stuff they love and hate the type of stuff they hate. And if you don't, there will always be, chaos and friction and stuff like that. And a lot of these relationships are just toxic. They don't belong together. It's just toxic. But you're not just right. You don't just pick somebody and try to be with somebody. It doesn't work like that. Because as I said in these relationships, I saw our incompatibility with these two men that I was with. As I said in these relationships, I saw the incompatibility. I saw how I love things and they don't have nothing to do with it. I saw how they love things and I don't have nothing to do with it. Why? Because you're not compatible with them. You're not compatible with them. I saw how, the things that I want to do and I was joyous about, they didn't care about. I saw the things that they cared about, I didn't care about. You see what I'm saying? This is all like incompatibility. You're not going in the same direction. You don't love the same thing. Like, let's say you have mission work and they don't even want to do mission work. They never show up for your mission work. They never be there for your mission work. And if they do, they have to forge a smile. They fake. They're not the ones helping. They're not the ones giving. Everything is important. You see what I'm saying? People's mission could be different. You can have a mission for fashion. You can have a mission for the church. You can have a mission. It could be different missions. Let's suppose they do have a mission that they have to do. You have your mission. They have your mission. You're not into their mission. They're not into your mission. They don't care about what you care about. They don't like what you like. They don't like what you love. That's incompatibility. Okay, they don't like what you stand for. Right? You're not really, compatible with that person. You see what I'm saying? Because I saw it. I saw the things that he liked, the things he liked to watch, the things he was about, the things he did, the way he was. I just wasn't compatible, with him. You see what I'm saying? And with either one of them, I saw the way they were. I saw what I was about, what I liked and loved. They didn't care about. Another thing is signs that, you're not going to be happy in a relationship and you don't belong in a relationship and you're not compatible. Is they're not going to be happy. They're not going to be happy about what you care about. Another sign is that they're not the one and you don't belong in a relationship. Is they're not going to be happy about what you care about. They're not going to be happy about what you care about. They're not happy. A lot of them have to forge a smile. They fake. They have to, not be genuine. But they're not going to care about what you care about. They're just not. You're not compatible. That's why they're not going to care about what you care about, what your mission work, what you do, what you about, what you stand for, what you love. They're not going to care about that because they have, they about something else. They're not about what you're about. They don't care what you care about. They don't love what you love. And so this is why they're not the one. This is why they're not the one. You know what I'm saying? They don't care what you care about. They don't stand for what you stand for. You see what I'm saying? And they not about what you're about. You see what I'm saying? And so this is why, they're not the one for you. People don't understand. This is why they're not the one for you. Okay? This is why they're not the one for you. You're going in a different direction. A lot of people, even if they try to act like they care. There's a lot of fake people out here that can afford to smile. You want to be with somebody genuine, and you want to be with somebody who genuinely care about you. You want to be with somebody with similar passion, goals, life, and priorities, who is going in the same direction with you about what you about. You don't want some fake person coming along pretending they're about what you about. Because sooner or later, those walls are going to crack and break down, and they're going to start showing their true colors. Because sooner or later those walls are gonna crack and break down, and they're gonna show their true colors. So you don't want to be with anybody fake. You want to be with somebody who really cares about what you care about. And these men that I was with, they wasn't really faking it or anything like that. They just they were who they were. I was who I was, and it was showing them genuine. I was showing them genuine. They were showing who they was, and I saw who they was. Because a lot of people like to try to pretend, but eventually that's gonna come out that they're not like that. You see what I'm saying? The truth is gonna come out, and you're gonna see it anyway. So, but you need to be looking out for compatibility, like life priorities, one of the missions, which you not that some people work and they might not have time. But if they always tell me they're busy, 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 and you don't see when they're busy, even especially if they don't work and they, always trying to make an excuse, but they won't use that excuse for something they really want to do. You see what I'm saying? If they want to go out there and go here or there, they're not gonna make an excuse if they really love it. You see what I'm saying? But they'll make an excuse to you. That's how you know. You see what I'm saying? They'll make an excuse. Oh, I ain't got time. I can't do this. I can't do that. But you see what I'm saying? But you didn't make that excuse when you wanted to. You see what I'm saying? Do what you wanted to do. That's how you know, too. You see what I'm saying? That they're not all in, okay? They're not for you and they're not compatible with you. So you don't just want to sit in a relationship. You want a relationship with somebody that God has called you to and you're compatible with. You don't want to just sit in a relationship. You want a relationship that God has called you to and that somebody you're compatible with. So you don't just want to sit in a relationship, be in a relationship. You want to be in a relationship with somebody God has called you to and that you're compatible with. You don't just sit in a relationship because it gets what I'm saying. You don't really enjoy the relationship when you're not compatible. You don't really enjoy the relationship when you're not compatible. You don't really enjoy the relationship. It's about sex, time, energy, and money, pretty much. Because you don't really enjoy the relationship. For some people, you know what I'm saying. For some people, it's about sex, time, energy, and money, but it's just about being in a relationship. You just have a relationship, but you don't enjoy a relationship that you're not compatible with the person. They don't care about what you care about what you stand for. They're not compatible with you. Your mission is different from their mission. You see what I'm saying? People got two different missions, two different paths in life. Your mission ain't even tied to the mission. You don't even have the mission that they have. Why would you try to be with them? See what I'm saying? They have no mission with you. They have no business with you. You see what I'm saying? You have no mission together. You're not called to the same things. It needs to be first priority. I know a lot of people don't believe in God, but God needs to be the one putting you together. It needs to be compatible. You need to have the mission work together. Their mission is something totally different. They may be called to be something or do something you don't like. They may be called to the fashion industry. You may be called to the church. They may be called to, do something else, in another industry. You may be called to another industry, and they like the industry they like, and you like the industry you like. That's compatibility. So, I mean, I'm sorry. That's incompatibility if they like one thing and you like another. That's incompatibility. But if they're called to a different path, then they're sure not called to be with you on your path. You got to use common sense. You don't just hook up with somebody just because they're beautiful, or hook up with somebody because they're saying all the right things that you want to hear. You see what I'm saying? You don't just hook up with somebody because they're saying the right things you want to hear. You have to be with the people that is called to be on your path, that's called to be with you, that God has called you to be with, that you're supposed to be with, and that you're compatible with. You don't just hook up with any old body. And a lot of days nowadays, they're just hooking up with people because they're saying the right things. But a lot of people are fake. Remember, a lot of people are fake. They're hooking up with people because they're saying the right things. They're hooking up with people because they're saying what they want to hear. They're laughing and they're lying. But then the truth about them has to come out because you always have to show your true colors eventually. The mask gonna fall off. Eventually, the mask gonna fall off. Eventually, they're gonna show who they truly are. All this fake stuff that they put on, all this stuff. Eventually, they're gonna have to come out. You know, You see what I'm saying? So who they really are. Okay. You see what I'm saying? A zebra can't really hide its stripes. A zebra can't really hide its stripes. You're gonna see it in plain force. There's a cover over it, and then eventually the cover's gonna slip, and you're gonna see a zebra's a zebra. A zebra's a zebra, right? So like a zebra can't hide its stripes. The false person cannot hide, who they really are. You can put a cover over the zebra, but once you take the cover off, it's a zebra. So, like the zebra cannot hide its stripes. The zebra cannot hide its stripes. Like the fake person cannot hide, say who they are. It's going to uncover and bam, that's what it is. That's what I'm saying. They're going to show themselves for who they really are. So stop falling for people and trying to be in relationships to be any relationship because that doesn't make any sense. You see what I'm saying? Try to be with the one that God wants you with, the compatible one that you have life goals and priorities with, and somebody you're compatible with. Don't just jump into these relationships, settle and say, oh, he like this, I like that. No. Are you compatible? Why they don't enjoy what you enjoy? Why they don't like what you like? Why they're not excited about what you're excited about? Because you're both called to be on a different path. Because you're both called to be on a different path. Because you're both called to go somewhere else in life. He's called to go over there. She's called to go over here. You're called to a different path. It's very obvious you don't like the same things. You're not going in the same direction. And this doesn't matter if you're equally yoked with a person or not. That doesn't matter. Compatibility matters. Where you're going matters. The life plan that God has for you matters. It doesn't matter if you're equally yoked or not. It doesn't. It doesn't even matter if this person is a Christian. It doesn't even matter if this person is a Christian, okay? It doesn't matter if the person is a Christian or not. It doesn't matter if you're equally yoked or not. The Bible says don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. The Bible says don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. But it doesn't matter if you're a Christian or not. It doesn't matter if you're a believer or not with the person. Okay, that doesn't matter. It matters if you're compatible. You see what I'm saying? Because you don't really enjoy the relationship if you're not compatible. You don't really enjoy the relationship if you're not compatible. You don't really enjoy the relationship if you're not compatible. You don't really enjoy the relationship if you're not compatible. So you need to be with somebody who you are compatible with because you don't really enjoy the relationship if you're not compatible. You don't and you won't. You don't and you won't. You will not. You will not. Go, okay? You may have sex in a relationship. You may get together and do things, but you're not going to really enjoy a relationship, okay? You're not. I was with people that I was, you see what I'm saying? I was with people that I was not compatible with. And, you tell yourself all kind of things. We can make this work. This is that, but y'all just are not compatible. Y'all not going in the same direction. Y'all not going in the same direction. Y'all not going on the same path. And y'all were not meant to go on the same path. And y'all were not meant to go in the same direction. Because God did not put y'all together. And this relationship is not right. Okay? So you have to be going in the same direction, the same path. And God needs to put y'all together. You see what I'm saying? You need to be going in the same direction and a similar path. You know what I'm saying? Because people have different paths in life they must go. They need to understand that. Everybody's not on the same journey. Everybody's not on the same path. You were not meant to go on the path with them. You were not meant to go on the journey with them. You just were not. Some people come in your life for a reason, season, a lifetime. Everybody's not meant. You know what I'm saying? To go with you. Stop keeping seasonal people and letting lifetime people go. Hold on to lifetime people and let the seasonal people are the reason people go. You know what I'm saying? In other words, what I mean is people come in your life for a season, reason, and lifetime. Let the people that came for a reason go. Let the people that came for a season go. Let the people that came for a lifetime stay. That's what I meant. Come on now. You have to know what season you're in. You have to know what path that you're supposed to go on. Them people ain't meant to go with you because they have a whole nother path. God could be calling them to the fashion industry, and you trying to go with them, and you're in the church ministry, and that's your path, and that's what you love. You don't love fashion; they don't love the church ministry, right? In other words, that's just an example. You don't love that. You see what I'm saying? That's not your thing. That's not your you'll get up in the morning. That's not true. You know what I'm saying? Your cup of tea. That's not what brings you joy. You know what I'm saying? You okay with it, you like it, but it's not your thing that you scream or care about. It's something that's the thing that drives you insane, with excitement. So why do you see what I'm saying? And when you're not compatible, that's what it's like. It has to be the thing or the person that drives you insane, crazy with excitement. If not, that's not the person. Like, people can feel different ways about people. I understand depending according to their personality, but it should be somebody that you like. Yes, this is who I want, not just somebody to be with in a relationship. You don't want that because you'll never enjoy the relationship. You don't want the wrong person because you'll never enjoy the relationship. You'll just be existing and living and trying to make it work, and it'd be frustrating because you're not compatible. When you're not compatible, it's frustrating anyway. But you'll just be constantly trying to make it work. So know what path you're on and know who you're meant to go on a path with. and know who you're supposed to be with and know who God put you with. Don't just try to be with anybody because it just doesn't work out. A lot of times it doesn't work out. People just try to make it work out, and they become more and more miserable in a relationship, and then sometimes it becomes toxic, and they realize they need to leave. Some people be with you for some rich reasons, so you have to know what path you're on, who you're supposed to be with, who you're compatible with, because that's important. You can't really enjoy a relationship if you're not compatible. I've never really enjoyed my relationships when I wasn't compatible. I never enjoyed those relationships when I wasn't compatible. You know, it's what I'm saying. A lot of times you're not on the same page with these people. You're not compatible. I never really enjoyed my relationships with people I was not compatible with. So think about the fact that you need to be compatible with them. You need to have compatibility. They need to be excited about what you're excited about. They need to love what you love. You need to be with somebody who cares about what you cares about. Going on the same similar goals, like the priorities and path. Everybody's not called to the same path. Be with someone whose path is on the path you're going on. You can't be with somebody, that they path is like, it's not about like if the person you with, is in a professional industry and you're in a church. No, if you're compatible, that's fine, right? It's not that they can't have like a different, like you have one job, they have another job. No, it's about like a mission, not their job. Like, let's say if their job was in a church and their job was in fashion, but y'all was still compatible at heart. Y'all still cared about what y'all cared about, excited about. That's fine. I'm talking about somebody who their whole path in life was meant to go on another path. Your whole path in life was meant to go on another path, and you're trying to make it work. That's what I'm talking about. Like y'all don't have similar goals, life priorities. They can have a different job from you, that's fine, or a different industry they work in from you. We're talking about if you were meant to, you see what I'm saying, go on a whole nother path with them and you're trying to make it work with them. And they're meant to go somewhere else in life. Let them go. Because they're meant to go somewhere else in life. Okay?